Hello friends, James Haight here from Victory Wealth Services. We wanted to make you aware of a shocking change from the IRS that happened over this past weekend. Stay tuned. Welcome to Victory Insights, where we keep you up to date with all the relevant financial information that you need to know so that you can live your ideal life. So if you want to be kept up to date as possible on all the news and events that could impact your financial future, be sure to hit the subscribe, the like, the alert buttons down below. That way you'll be notified as soon as we post them. Okay, so what is this all about? Last week on Friday night, because, well, that's when they like to do these kind of things, the IRS released publication 590B. Now, this publication has to do with the official distributions rule for IRAs, more specifically, the 10-year rule. And guess what? Whatever everybody in the entire country thought the new 10-year rule was, it's not what the IRS says it is. So you might be thinking to yourself, what is this all about? What does this have to do with me? Okay, I'm going to tell you what this has to do. So maybe join me over here on camera number 2. Are you ready? Okay, there you are. It has everything to do with you. If you have a retirement account, if you have an IRA, or perhaps you might inherit one, this has to do with you because it's going to force anybody in that position into a certain box that could really blow up your estate plan. It could cause your taxes to just skyrocket. So it's very important that we pay attention to this very special announcement. Okay, let's go back. What is it all about? So here we are. For decades, if you've had an IRA and maybe you passed away, your non-spouse beneficiaries, so maybe your kids, your grandkids, and so forth, they were able to stretch out those distributions, those IRA distributions. See, a stretch IRA was an estate planning strategy that extended the tax-deferred benefits of an IRA that was inherited by somebody other than your spouse. The beneficiary simply had to take the distributions from the IRA, but it was at a rate that was based on their age, their life expectancy, not the original account owners. This was especially beneficial for those that had special needs and were risking losing their government benefits because of an income increase, things of that nature. Well, that tactic ended by the Secure Act of 2019. So instead of being able to stretch out your taxable withdrawals, the act mandated that inherited IRAs be emptied within 10 years of the original account holder's death, regardless of the beneficiary's age. Now, essentially, if you inherited an IRA, you'd have the flexibility, at least, to make as many or as few withdrawals from the inherited IRA as you like every year, just as long as the account was drained by the end of the 10th year. You'd be okay. So you at least had a little bit of control. Unfortunately, this blew up many existing estate plans and trusts, causing them to need to be completely rewritten, especially when it comes to special needs trusts. Or perhaps you wanted to control your funds long after you're gone. That way you can make sure that Junior doesn't go out and wrap a sports car around a tree. So for the past 2 years, the tax, estate planning, and financial industries have been getting all of this worked out so that we're all on the same page for our clients. But now, all of that has changed. Enter publication 590B. So in an unbelievable interpretation, the IRS has turned all of that upside down and inside out. Now, on top of having to drain the account by the 10th year, RMDs are now required in years 1 through 9. And this makes no sense because it completely goes against the Secure Act, which is now law. Seriously, this is crazy and completely out of the blue. Basically, the IRS says that you have to do like this mini stretch IRA, depending on who the beneficiaries are. So now we have to bring it all back in, factor for each year, and it's just crazy. So let's say a child inherited from a parent in 2020, they would be subject to the Secure Act. But according to the new publication, the child is now subject to an RMD this year. Everyone in the related industries pretty much understood that the new 10-year rule with the Secure Act would operate a lot like the old 5-year rule, meaning that annual distributions would not be required. You had some flexibility there. And so this is a complete total surprise that the IRS is now saying that annual RMDs will be mandatory during those 10 years, even for designated beneficiaries subject to the 10-year rule. So just what on earth are you supposed to do? Well, here's a few takeaways. Number one, if anything that we think about what we're talking about in this video is, number one, the IRS just made a significant change to the distribution rules of IRAs for non-spouse beneficiaries. Okay, number two, there is going to be a comment period where all of this can still change, but this does give you a good idea of the IRS's position, but it's not law yet. I mean, after all, we're still waiting for the Secure Act regulations, which is a huge process. It starts with proposed regulations, then there's this open comment period, and then finally we get the rules. So it could be a long haul. A lot may change regarding this. I mean, after all, why is the IRS even thinking this? Well, think of the trillions of dollars in stimulus money that has been spent combating the coronavirus and everything else, trying to lift up the sinking economy. That has to be paid by somebody. So number three, here's what we're advising, at least our clients. If it was us, we wouldn't do anything just yet. You're like, wait a minute, don't do anything just yet? Why on earth are you even telling me about this if I don't have to do anything just yet? Well, most likely you're going to start hearing about this on the news, on television. We try to get out ahead of the release of the news reports when we dive into these publications when they are released by the IRS, at least give you a head start and a fighting chance, right? So all of a sudden you're going to hear on the news and maybe the radio newspaper that bam, overnight, like a thief in the night, RMDs are now mandatory for someone who died in 2020 and beyond. Personally, again, we wouldn't do much until later this year when the comment period is completely over. Perhaps the IRS will release regulations, hopefully something better than this. Now, I know that's hard to hear, and you probably are wondering, how on earth can I just sit tight? But you can. So we wouldn't want a client to be in a position where they make a decision that's made prematurely. So really, at the end of the day, it is best just to wait it out, see what happens later this year. So there you have it. There's the big news. There's the big victory insights for today. The IRS came out with this interpretation of these rules, which we find beyond surprising. So we'll see what happens next. But we wanted to keep you in the loop. See, we're on top of these things. The minute we hear of a finalized ruling, we'll let you know, and we'll let you know whatever adjustments are necessary to keep you on track. So just as we proactively manage your comprehensive financial plan and investments, we always stay tuned in to upcoming policy changes and events that could impact you. So in other words, we've got your back. We worry about these things so that you don't have to. That's our job. Now, on a related note, if you are concerned about the massive amount of government spending with all the stimulus package and now Biden's proposed $2.2 trillion infrastructure plan, this announcement is for you. Ready? So if you're worried about the impact that it's going to be on future taxes, are your taxes going to go up? What's going to happen? Somebody has to pay for this. Well, I want you to be sure to sign up for our free virtual tax masterclass. Now, during this masterclass, we'll talk about several big picture tax strategies that can help you take control and protect yourself no matter what happens to future tax rates. We'll talk about 3 actions that you can take to make those strategies part of your comprehensive financial plan, taking you to and through retirement. And don't worry, you don't need to be the head of the Federal Reserve to understand these strategies. In plain, easy to understand language, we'll detail how you can implement any of these powerful strategies. So here's what you do. Simply click on the link in the description or visit us at victorytaxclass.com. That's victorytaxclass.com and sign up for a time that's convenient for you. Don't spend another day trapped in uncertainty. Empower yourself with the knowledge that you need so that you can be victorious. This is James Haight from Victory Wealth Services, and this has been your Victory Insights. We'll see you next time.